Yo, X-Men, I've got a question for you, man. It's been a while, first and foremost. Let's just put it out there that it's been a while, but we've been working in the background. We've been doing amazing things, great things,
Mm.
um, new things in the pipeline coming up. So we're quite excited. But otherwise, how has it been for you?
Yeah, it's been good.
Mm,
As you said, lots of other projects we've been busy with, and that's
mm,
good. And yeah, we're gonna keep on pushing.
yeah,
You know,
dude. I have a very very important discussion to hold with you today. I was thinking as I was coming here, I'm like, have you noticed that relationships actually lack substance nowadays? And by relationships, I don't just mean like romantic relationships. Like this catapults across all sorts of relationships. Be it that it's family relationships, be it that it's
work
friendships, work
relationships.
relationships, even. You know.
People are no longer that close. People
Mm,
are no longer having meaningful conversations with each
mm.
other. People are no longer listening to each other. There's a lot of things going on, and we're just not that close.
We're not connected.
Communities are no longer
Yeah,
interconnected and
that's
stuff.
that's also very true because like sometimes I mean I'm also guilty of that. Like I'm not vindicating myself from that because like sometimes I just don't talk to my neighbors like that,
Mm.
right? Like we greet each other, but that's to the extent of it. Like we don't really talk. And like the value of these relationships. I'll tell you a short story, guys. Like last week I had an issue. I had an issue with my car. Like my convertible just couldn't close back. I opened it because I needed to load things, and then it just wouldn't close
Mm.
back again, right? And so like my parking is kind of like open, right? And I had I had nowhere else to park my car, because it was going to be exposed at night, and so like that would have rendered it um, vulnerable to theft or whatever the case, right? So, because I have a friend in the estate, right? A friend that we've also had in this podcast, Prinen, Dr. Prinen. So I called Dr. Prinen to say, yo, like, dude, can I come and park my car at your place, right? And he said, yeah, sure, no problem. And to me that really like showed the importance of like really having a community and really like building those meaningful relationships, because when we met him we only just did a podcast. And
Mm.
just a few months later, he came in handy when I needed him. And that really shows you. And when I talk about like meaningful relationships, I talk about such relationships where you can also like lean on people, to help you when you need, and also offer that help when they need it. So I really appreciated that moment, and it showed me the importance of relationships. Be it that it's a friendship, it's a romantic relationship, but it must not be based on nothingness. Like, and I'm not saying that we must only like formulate friendships with people that can give us things. Sometimes all you have to do is just listen to a person, basically like tell you about their struggles, and there's so much that you can learn from that as well.
Yeah, it needs to be genuine and, as you mentioned, not based on anything, what you can get out of it, or you know, but just something where it's sustainable. Speaking to people, and most importantly, trying to find out how people are doing, what they're going through.
Yeah.
Because these days people are going through a lot,
Mm.
and sometimes they don't need anything else but just support
Do you
in those
do you ever feel
troubled times,
do
if
you
I might
ever
say.
feel survivor's guilt, like when you look at yourself and some of your, maybe like, let's say, your friends, and like their relationship is no longer what it was, and you kind of, do you ever get like that survivor's guilt feeling, or they used to be very close to you and they're no longer close to you, and like they're going through a rough patch and stuff like that? And it doesn't have to be like a friend. It could be like a family member. It could be like a past lover, or whatever the case.
Well, yeah, I've experienced it before, and the thing is, if it's a past lover or anything, and they went through or they're going through a difficult time, I don't know. With me, it's difficult to reach out. It's
Mm.
difficult, and I'm not saying that I wish anything
Yeah,
upon
yeah.
anyone, but it's quite difficult. Like yeah.
But what makes it difficult?
I don't know. I think I'm. I'll probably say I probably just decided, nah, whatever happened or whatever we had, we
Mm.
had. Yeah. So there's you go through your things in life, and I go through mine, and
Mm.
that's the wrong mentality as well.
Yeah, potentially, and maybe not. Like it depends, like how you want to look at it. But I think my question stems from like sometimes like talking about support, and
Mm.
I think sometimes I always make this example about friendships. I say, like, I don't want to have like friendships that actually lack substance, right? Like,
Mm.
I don't want us to like whenever we meet up we talk about nothing, right? Like, let's talk about meaningful things. Can we grow each other? Like, what's happening? What sort of knowledge can you give me? What knowledge can I also disseminate?
Mm.
What can I share with you? Like, let's pour on each other. Let's grow each other. Let's make each other wise. If all we're talking about is gossip, then like I'm not interested in that friendship, and therefore like I will try and reduce like the time that I give you, because I value my time. That's the first thing that we must establish, that I value my time. So if I give you my time, you must make use of it, right? And I'm
Mm.
not saying that all the time we need to be talking about serious things. Like, we can laugh about things. We can just be like, let's just have a chill session. Let's talk about, like, let's have meaningful conversations. Let's not just hang out for the sake of hanging out. And so I'm very big on that. And then the other thing is, um, where I talk about survivor's guilt, it comes into play because I sometimes feel that you can, especially if you came up together, right?
Mm.
And somehow you lost each other along the journey, right? And you never quite found each other, like, so you just decided that you were going to move
Separate.
separately, right? And it was amicable. There was no
Mm.
no ill intent. There was no animosity. It's just like things just didn't work out. Like, you just decided that you're gonna go your separate ways and all of that. But then, like, they see you and they see you that, wow, you've got like a firm grip in your life, right? You've got everything under control, and like things aren't necessarily going very well for them, and so they always
Mm.
just look at you and say, wow, like, and sometimes you look back and say, wow, I wish I could support you and all of that. But the thing is, like, not everybody is willing to put in the work, because each and every one of us, like, sometimes we have to go within ourselves to find ourselves. And the thing is, we most of the time we want to go out of ourselves to find ourselves. And I would say all the time, you can't find yourself outside of yourself. You can only find
Mm.
yourself within. What do you think?
Now that's perfectly true. You have to dig deep inside to see what are you made of,
Mm.
and what can you stand. And sometimes, a lot of times, when you get to that point, you definitely find out what you really value.
Mm.
When you start looking within, and it might be that you don't value what your homie values.
Mm.
you know and they not in that space, or they not ready to dig within themselves. They might also be facing trauma,
Yeah.
so they're scared to dig within themselves. you
Yeah,
know.
but you see, that's the work that I'm talking about. You know, sometimes maybe you even understand that a person went through like a very traumatic experience, you know,
Yeah.
and you just know, like you try to basically guide them towards that journey of healing, you know, the journey of self-discovery, you know, like and they just not forthcoming. They also not just
But
willing.
how you guiding them?
You guide them by basically telling them that they need to confront their past traumas. Look,
But
like
it's not easy. It's not that easy.
it's
If you just have to, as you're saying, confront your past trauma.
what makes
It
it
could
not
be,
easy. It's fear of the
yeah, but
unknown.
it could be fear. It could be external help as well. You know, medical help, right? Maybe the person is not in a position to seek help medically because they don't have funding. It could be spiritual as well. Spiritual is free.
Yeah, true.
Spiritual is
But
free.
remember also, like I said to you, like I want to look at this from an inward position.
Mm.
And when we talk about an inward position, that for me is free of charge. There's anything external, there is some cost consequence to it, right? So there's a cost implication to it. So that one I'm not touching on there. But anything inward, that one is free, you know? Like there's no cost, none whatsoever. Like all you have to do is
But
decide that I've made a decision, this is what I'm gonna do now. You
no,
know?
that could work. And what I'm just saying is, you know, people grew up differently. Some people grew up with love,
Yeah.
and some people grew up on survival.
Yeah, true.
So how do they then relate to, let's say, to love? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think,
So
you know, Exner, let me tell you something. I think also like sometimes there's an element of excuses that we make for people. I'll give you an example of myself. Let me make this very personal. Like you see, like with me, for instance, I'll give you an example. Like I never had a lot of things that other people had,
mm,
but I never made it my theme. I never made it my DNA. I never made it my mission statement, my slogan, right? It was something that I always just told myself, like, I know what I want in life,
mm,
and I'm gonna work very hard to attain it. Like, I'll give you an example. Like me, like I lost my parents when I was very young,
mm,
right? And I I did very well in life without my parents. And I'm not saying that people must lose their parents to do well. No. But I also know so many kids that were similar to me that lost their parents, right? That just didn't do well for themselves. You know, they just never gotten anywhere
mm.
because they stayed in that phase of I don't have parents and therefore I can't achieve a lot of things, right? And so when we make excuses, you know, like we will never get to what we want, you know. And I feel like we always justify why we can't achieve things, you know, why we are where we are, why we can't get over trauma, because this is unbearable trauma, you know. And so therefore you don't understand, you've never been through what I've been through, right? It's like another person could also come and tell you a far worse story than mine, because
But
trust me, I came from a very good family. I may not have had those parents, but I had parents as well, right?
mm,
And my thing is, like, sometimes when you lose something, you gain favor from God, you know, and that's the most important thing, you know. And you touched on maybe it could be a spiritual warfare that's going on with your life and all of that, right? But that's the thing. There are certain situations in life that lead you closer to God, you know.
yeah.
And I always say that it's not the nicest and the easiest life that builds character, that makes a man that is complete in life. It's the tough challenges, you know. It's what you go through, you know.
So your challenges lead you closer to God, and it's true.
Yeah,
If you open yourself to that experience, if you want to be led, you get what I'm saying?
yeah,
If you don't close yourself up, but again, it happens when the time is right.
yeah. It happens when the
It
time is
happens when
right.
the time is right. So what you going through, and I'm not talking about trauma or whatever only. I'm talking about your life journey, and someone else's journey is totally different.
Yeah, 100%.
So basically, you could achieve something at an early age, and someone else could achieve it
Later.
at a later stage in their life, or not even achieve it. But within their journey, there is lessons that you can pick up,
Yes.
you know.
Yes,
So
100. You know, that's so important because this is one of the reasons why I always tell people that, like, focus on your path in life. They like the amount of time that people waste looking at other people, right? And instead of looking at their own path, because that in its own, that's where your power lies, by basically focusing on yourself, you know. And you know, I speak about like relationships lacking substance. Like, I want to just bring it a little back. You know, like, there are people that will say, like, for instance, like, I have a deal breaker, right, in a relationship. I want a person that's going to do this, this, that, right? Well, setting out standards and principles is something that I'm a biggest advocate of, right? But before you do that, make sure that within yourself as well, like, you are the, you are, you are an epitome of what you seek from others, right?
yeah,
So I see people basically having principles that they don't themselves follow, you know. Like, I want a person that can, I want a person that can. But then when you look within them, it's like, but that is, so you want something that you don't have. So someone else must basically feel missing void, right? Or that they must fill that void. So, like, how does that make any sense?
yeah, because basically what you're doing is, it's almost like
You're outsourcing.
you're outsourcing, or something very interesting, your emotional bank. So basically, with this emotional bank that you're doing, that you have within you, everyone has that. So instead of feeding your emotional bank, you trying to draw from from someone else's
Yes.
emotional bank in order for you to feel okay. But then that's not the case. It's a give and take. So if you have an emotional bank and someone else also has some emotional bank, it's a give and take. So you invest in that person's emotional bank and vice versa. So when you invest in that person's, if in your partner's emotional bank, and they do the same, I think, like, something else would happen organically.
Yeah.
Because now you fill in that space and they also fill in that space.
100%. And you know, X, or to your point, you know, like, true connections actually happen when people basically strip off all these silly things that they expect from others. That's when now you get to experience the real connection. Because I always say to me, to people, right, to my close circle, like, you've never experienced love unless you stop looking at what the person has and what they've achieved, and you look at who they are.
Who they are.
Then now you start to experience true love. Because
Yeah.
once you say, I want a man that has this in life, this in life, this in life, right? You will find a man that has all those things, right? Or you'll find a woman that has all those things. And a lot in between that is very fundamental, that is important, will be missing. Then now you have that man, but you're complaining about not having peace, right? I don't have peace, I need peace. Okay, which one is it that you want? Because you basically can't have it both ways, right? But what you can do is, you want a man that will be, you will love a man for who they are, or you love a woman for who they are, right? And that way, all these other things, if there is a way that you can work on those things, because remember, like, um, success is not permanent, right? So, but love for a person is. So if you fell in love with a person because of what they have and what they've achieved in life, the minute that success is gone, then the love will also change, because that's what drew you from that person in the first
But now
instance.
can we then classify that as love? Because it's not.
It's not love.
You,
That's what
you
I'm
see,
saying. Because you fell in love
it's
with
something.
things.
Yeah, you fell in love with things.
Yes.
You didn't fall in love with the person. So you
100.
can't really say that it's love. I think
That's not.
we normally uh, use that word love loosely,
Yes,
you know,
100.
instead of and you try to convince yourself that it is love,
Yes.
but immediately when, as you say, if that person loses everything or if they're no longer as healthy or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you fall out of love.
Yes. And you see, here's another thing as well. Now, in the event where people are deeply in love with one another, right? Like guys, like we like there is nothing that goes like this forever in life, right?
Yeah.
So in a relationship, this is why sometimes like these relationships don't really last that much. They don't last that longer, right?
Hmm.
It's because people expect to stay in this happy phase forever. There's gonna be a time when you're not happy in a relationship, right? Or there's gonna be a time when you're sad in a relationship. But the love needs to remain constant. It needs to remain unwavering, unchanged, right? So we're going through a tough spell in our relationship. We're going through a tough patch, right? But there's love. I always say that there's nothing that beats a mother's love. A mother's love is your mother could turn you down right now if you want a PlayStation and say, no, you're not going to get it. You'll be angry. But there's one thing in your mind as a child. You don't doubt that your mother loves you. You're angry about them not getting you a PlayStation.
Mm.
But the one thing that's for sure is you don't doubt their love.
True.
And so we're under the same necessity when it comes to romantic relationships and friendships as well, because I think for me sometimes like it's just about understanding life in itself, right? This is how life works. We're not always going to be happy, but we want to be mentally stimulated all the time, and sometimes just have to be like bored bored to death, not do anything and just chill and not do anything. If you
In order
can
for you
find
to,
that with someone,
in order for you
and you found your
to
person.
in order for you to then listen to yourself,
Yes.
yeah, and also listen to that person in silence,
Yes,
because that could
exactly.
be, that could also be some kind of way of communication. That is a way of
100.
communication,
100.
because now you're starting to think what this person is thinking. Are they
Hmm.
doing the same? And
100.
and also it comes to, you now respect the person's space
Yes.
and they respect your space as well.
Yes.
you know yeah, we're not experts in this. We're just dissecting what where we can. And
Same as same as friendships, right? Like a friendship where like we don't respect each other's boundaries, that's not a friendship. We have to respect each other's boundaries. And when I tell you that no, no does not mean that I'm a fake friend. Like you're not gonna go on some I'm done with fake friends just because like a person said no.
mm,
And the same as family. Sometimes as family, like just because you're doing well, it doesn't mean that you don't have challenges of your own. Like
yeah,
you've seen X doing very well and you see that X does not have children, right? So you automatically assume that when I ask X a favor, X, can you lend me 500? My kid is right. X must budge. And when X says to you, or maybe in the past you did that, right? And the
yeah,
one time when X said, no, I can't, then X is now a villain. You're a bad guy. You've turned
mm,
against me. Like, oh, now you think you are. And now it's like, it's now in relation to your growth in life, the growth that they've been looking at, right? And like, so now the higher he goes, right? So like, it doesn't make sense. That doesn't mean that because like remember, like boundaries again, I don't have to tell you why. Sometimes I don't have to tell you why. I don't have to justify my no. My no should be respected as it is. I don't have to say to you no because, right? If I
mm,
say no, understand that I can't, but I don't need to justify why.
mm. Yeah, true. Well, look, family, you have family who, relationships are probably, you just family because of blood,
Yes,
through blood. And other than that,
that's so
like,
that's so true.
other than that, you're not really family. And now, you being manipulated into this way. They say we are family.
Yes.
But some family members, like I had family members where they would ask me like to help them out. financially. And I was like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, but our relationship was never based on that, you know, helping each other, you know,
Well, at least not in the financial
in a
way.
financial way. Yeah, not in a financial way. And also, it could be also emotional, you know, because in my emotional state or whatever, where were you? Or when vice versa, where was I? You know, things like that. So yeah, it's something else, man. Like,
You know what I find, and this speaks to like nowadays and how things are nowadays, right? Like I feel like everything is very transactional, right?
mm,
Um, like this is what I find very strange. You know, the more you like make sound decisions in life, the more you do well for yourself, right?
mm,
And when we talk about, and like I like this topic because like when we talk about reaching higher levels, people think about just like outward success. They think about you maybe like getting like to the highest level in terms of maybe like getting like a job or like your company, your business, or whatever you do in life that's making you successful from an external perspective, right? They think that okay, that means that you're getting higher. So you're I'm talking about your higher self, like from a frequency level, right? When you when you come into contact with your higher self, you grow distant to certain people because you start to see things for what they are. You start to see the truth.
that's because you're not operating on the same vibration as them.
Yes,
So, and that
you are
is
operating from a different plane altogether.
yes. So
Yes,
that actually draws you apart.
yes. So when we talk about like reaching your higher self can also mean that you move away from a lot of people, you know, even the people that you once held dear, you know,
Mm,
and it's like, I can't relate to you anymore, you know. And that's a very scary thing because, again, like, you know, what awaits you on the other side, you may never really know. And which is why I always say, cross that bridge because that's where you may find me. I'm
yeah.
not saying that I'm permanently gone and you can never catch me, but walk that journey, cross the bridge. I'm on the other side of the bridge. Once you cross that bridge, you'll find me. I'm there, I'm waiting. Once again,
Mm.
we can now start to basically relate because now we are vibrating at the same frequency, you know, like we're on the same wavelength, we understand each other. And for me, that's very important when it comes to relationships because if that vibration is not there, you know, if that understanding is not there, we will never have a substantial friendship, you know. So that's why I'm saying that, like, when we talk about friendships not being not having substance, it's sometimes such things, you know. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to one thing: you need to come back to yourself, you know, because there's nothing that you can do to influence the other person, but you can always change yourself.
But once you're on that level, like, and I understand what you're saying, uh, but also then also reaching out to that person or to that people, because now you, let's say you on a different frequency, right? You've reached that frequency, but also with that frequency is not for you to absorb it on your own,
Yeah, yeah,
but
definitely.
to obviously share it with the next person, and willingly, if that person is willingly, you know, or if they'd like to accept that, and then that's cool, and then they can come into your space,
Yeah.
but not to keep it
No,
for yourself.
no, we're sharing beings. Whether
Yeah.
like we share conversations, we share insights,
Mm,
but we're sharing beings. Look, I think if time would
mm,
permit us, we would go on and on and on and on and on. But ultimately, I think it boils down to one thing. I think for me, if I were to sum this conversation up, like, friendships lack substance because people don't want to reconnect with themselves, with who they are, who they truly are. Because once you work on yourself, on your innermost demons, then you are able to say, okay, now I can no longer say, I want someone that's going to give me peace. I'm at peace with myself. And therefore, I want someone that I can share this peace with.
yeah, true,
Yeah.
true.
What's your closing comments?
Well, peace is very important. right? In closing, I just think that, as you said, having that sustainable friendship and seeing how you can then draw from someone and vice versa, how they can draw
So,
from you in
yeah.
order for this friendship to flourish,
Yes.
you know. And that's the most important part
Mm.
of relationships as well.
Yeah.
And there's other ingredients that goes with it, and we just touched on a lot, a few. I mean, people might have different ways of seeing things, you know. But yeah, we'll continue with this friendship, because it's something really
Relationship, not friendship.
okay. These relationships, we will continue with the relationship
Yeah.
topics,
That's serious.
because yeah, we'll have a series of it, because we actually want people to
To
grow,
engage.
to engage, and
Yeah.
to draw closer to one another, and
Yeah.
for us to have good relationships, laugh,
Yeah.
cry together, whatever, walk the journey
And
together,
experience
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, we want Officer Mengele as well to come share his views as well. Officer, okay, cool. Thanks, X. Appreciate.